The 1941 Chevrolet COE truck from Jeepers Creepers isn't just a vintage vehicle. It's a rolling icon of horror and mechanical oddity. At first glance, it looks like a decrepit, rusty workhorse, but every inch of its frame hides secrets, modifications, and unusual features that defy expectations. From its aggressive cowcatcher grille to its seemingly supernatural speed, this truck blurs the line between antique engineering and cinematic nightmare. Some of its details are so extreme, they make viewers question how a decades-old vehicle could perform in ways that seem impossible. This is a machine that commands attention, fear, and fascination in equal measure. Pre-war COE truck design. The 1941 Chevy COE wasn't just some random old truck pulled from a junkyard for shock value. It actually comes from a very specific and short-lived era in American commercial vehicle history. The Creepers truck is a Chevy COE, which stands for cab over engine. This design choice was purely practical. By placing the driver and the entire cab directly over the motor, manufacturers could drastically reduce the truck's overall length. This allowed them to put a longer, heavier cargo bed on a shorter wheelbase. Think maximum hauling capacity and great maneuverability for tight spots like city deliveries or industrial yards right before World War II began. Chevrolet produced this distinctive platform only between 1941 and 1947, making the screen-used vehicle, which is confirmed as a 1941 model, a relic of a brief stylistic window. It's surprising because the truck's menacing, squat, and heavy front profile that we see in the movie is simply a byproduct of early pre-war attempts to make heavy-duty utility vehicles look slightly more modern. Its original purpose was efficient hauling, which, ironically, makes its later cinematic use as a terrifying body transport perfectly and darkly fitting. Its utilitarian origins unintentionally give it that harsh, archaic, and unforgettable imposing character. The flatbed became a crypt. The truck's body is more complex than it appears. While the front cab is genuine, vintage 1941 Chevrolet, the menacing box bed that serves as the Creeper's mobile lair was not a factory part. When the production team acquired this antique vehicle, it was in a far more utilitarian state, an unassuming flatbed truck. For the movie's needs, specifically transporting and concealing victims, an open flatbed would simply not work. They required a large, enclosed, and ominous space, essentially a rolling crypt, to define the truck's terrifying character. Production designer Stephen Legler and his team took on the significant task of custom building the entire rear section. They completely fabricated the massive enclosed box seen in the film, perfectly mating it to the classic COE cab. This level of customization is surprising because this fabricated rear section is key to the truck's iconic look and terrifying presence. It visually transforms a humble, short-haul work truck, whose original job was hauling commercial goods, into a unique, coffin-like transport perfectly suited for the Creeper's sinister purposes. This custom bodywork is a crucial piece of movie magic that dramatically alters the vehicle's function and makes it unforgettable. The rust is Hollywood paint. Perhaps the most defining visual feature of the Creeper truck is its heavy patina and pervasive rust, suggesting decades of horrific neglect and use. However, that perfectly terrifying look wasn't the result of letting a 1941 truck genuinely rot away. It's actually a meticulously executed Hollywood paint job. As we discussed, the truck's rear box was a custom fabrication, which meant the effects team needed to ensure the new bodywork looked exactly like the antique cab. To achieve this seamless, decades-old consistency, they painstakingly painted the custom box to match the original, heavily distressed cab. This artistic aging process, or faux patina, required incredible detail work. The crew didn't just match the color, they added specific weathering effects, including fake rust bubbles, to simulate genuine deep decay. It's surprising because the truck's whole menacing character relies on the illusion of age and neglect. The fact that the scariest part of its appearance is simply a carefully planned paint effect, guaranteeing it looks equally ominous from every angle, is a perfect piece of movie magic. It truly proves that sometimes the most horrific appearances are just a carefully created illusion. Debates about its year. Despite the truck's official title being the 1941 Chevy COE, its exact model year actually sparked a fascinating debate among automotive historians and movie enthusiasts early on. The question was whether it was a 1941 or a later 1946 model. This confusion wasn't frivolous. It stemmed from close analysis of the truck's details compared to stock vehicles. Fans pored over subtle visual cues. For example, some pointed out the absence of fender-mounted turn signals on the Creeper's truck, a feature often present on certain stock models of that era. Others noted differences in the front grille design, specifically the subtlety of the horizontal line running from the hood down through the grille, which varied between the 1941 to 1945 models and the 1946 version. The fact that fans had to become forensic vehicle experts to pin down the year is surprising. Ultimately, the subtle visual discrepancies that fueled the debate were likely caused by the movie's heavy modifications. When Hollywood takes a vintage vehicle and alters it for filming, removing parts for aesthetics or simplifying the design, it can easily obscure the truck's true historical pedigree, turning a simple model year identification into a genuine automotive mystery. 3 trucks played the Creeper. When you see the Creeper's truck menacingly barreling down the road, you might assume you're looking at a single, heavily modified vehicle. The bizarre truth is, the production of Jeepers Creepers required a fleet. A total of 3 different 1941 Chevrolet COE trucks were used in the making of the film. This practice is actually common in movie making, especially when high-speed chases, demanding stunts, and detailed close-ups are all required from the same vehicle. Each truck had a specific purpose. One might be the pristine hero car reserved for close-up shots showing the menacing details, while another would be the stunt vehicle, prepared for damage and high-risk running scenes. The fact that the production team had to locate and identically customize 3 separate, runnable COE trucks from 1941 is truly surprising. These are not common vehicles to begin with, so finding 3 that could be brought up to speed and modified with the custom rear box and the matching faux rust finish was a huge logistical undertaking. It speaks volumes about the dedication of the film's vehicle coordination team to ensure they had backups ready, guaranteeing the Creeper's terrifying presence could be captured from every angle without interruption. Common truck, uncommon use. For many viewers, the Creeper's truck looks so unusual and disproportional that they might assume it's a completely fabricated Hollywood vehicle, custom built to look terrifying. The surprising reality is that the 1941 Chevy COE was a perfectly normal, practical piece of industrial equipment. These heavy-duty trucks were not luxury items or custom rigs. They were the backbone of commercial and industrial transportation leading up to World War II. Its distinct cab-over design was valued specifically for maximizing efficiency and allowing easy maneuvering in congested urban or industrial areas. The truck was a common sight, employed for essential jobs both in the US and globally. It is genuinely unsettling when you consider this history. This truck, originally designed for mundane commercial hauling, was a symbol of everyday pre-war American industry and utility. The fact that this common workhorse, which once carried lumber or factory supplies, is now repurposed by a supernatural predator to carry out his deadly ritual, adds a profound layer of dread. Its ordinary origins contrast sharply with its ultimate terrifying fate, turning a piece of commercial history into a sinister cinematic icon. The cowcatcher's train routes. One of the most instantly recognizable and terrifying features of the Creeper truck is that menacing, heavily rusted structure bolted to the front. Colloquially, it's called a cowcatcher or a heavy-duty grille guard, and its history is bizarrely tied to locomotives. The original purpose of the cowcatcher design was established on trains. On rail lines, this reinforced angled device was safety equipment. Its job was literal, to violently push large obstacles like stray cattle, logs, or other debris off the tracks to prevent the potentially catastrophic event of a train derailing. Repurposing this powerful protective design onto a road vehicle is what makes the Creeper truck so aggressive. It's surprising that a feature born from railway safety is what lends the truck its most brutal aesthetic. The grille guard doesn't just give the COE a more menacing look. It perfectly matches the Creeper's driving style, signaling that this truck is designed not to avoid collisions, but to dominate them and clear the road of anything, or anyone, in its path. It is a design born of necessity on the tracks, repurposed for maximum terror on the highway. Custom steel front assembly. Now, let's turn our attention back to that imposing cowcatcher on the front. It looks like an ancient piece of reinforced equipment, but here is a surprising fact. It's actually a custom fabrication, made specifically for the film. While the design is rooted in the heavy-duty rail equipment we just discussed, the actual grille guard on the Creeper's truck is described as a modified front bumper with an integrated guard. The entire structure was fabricated on set using new materials. Crucially, the production team used rusty tubular and plate steel in its construction. The intentional use of rusty steel is what makes this detail so effective and impressive. It ensures that this aggressively custom-made addition instantly and seamlessly matches the severely neglected, heavily decayed aesthetic of the rest of the 1941 COE. It's surprising because it doesn't look like a bolted-on prop. It looks like an organic piece of the truck's terrifying history. This attention to detail in the fabrication process is a perfect example of Hollywood craftsmanship, where even a newly built component is carefully aged to look decades old and absolutely lethal. The original 4-speed gearbox. We know 3 trucks were used for the film, and this leads to a fascinating mechanical detail. One of those trucks, specifically the one used for many of the active running shots, retained a truly vintage heart. Its original 216 6-cylinder engine paired with a 4-speed manual transmission. This is surprising because modern stunt driving almost always demands a V8 engine and an automatic transmission for smooth, aggressive maneuvers, which is exactly what Truck 3 received. However, the decision to keep the original 4-speed manual in the main running truck meant that many of the iconic chase scenes relied on decades-old mechanics. Driving a COE from the 1940s with this kind of primitive, unassisted manual gearbox, often featuring a very low granny gear, requires a lot of skill and effort. It highlights the rugged, unrefined nature of this historical vehicle. The fact that the filmmakers could achieve such menacing chase sequences using the truck's stock powertrain is a genuine nod to the vehicle's authentic, hard-working engineering, suggesting the Creeper is a master behind the wheel of this formidable, if old-fashioned machine. Modest engine, massive appearance. For all its terrifying presence and menacing speed in the film, the stock 1941 Chevy COE was actually quite the slowpoke. When this truck rolled off the assembly line, its engine was the dependable but extremely humble 216 cubic inch valve and head 6. According to the original specifications, this engine produced a peak output of just 90 horsepower. Think about that. A massive heavy truck built for industrial hauling had the equivalent power of a modern economy sedan. The engine was designed for torque and reliability at low speeds, not for chasing people down the highway at triple-digit speeds. The low 6.5:1 compression ratio was typical for the fuel and engineering of the early 1940s, and it was certainly not conducive to high-performance driving. This is what makes the movie version so bizarre. The fact that the Creeper's truck is shown attaining speeds well over 100 miles per hour on the open road is surprising and simply impossible for a stock vehicle. It strongly implies that beneath all that rusted steel and movie magic, massive, non-stock internal engine modifications, like an engine swap, had to be performed to overcome the truck's natural historical lethargy. That old 90-horsepower workhorse had to be given a serious upgrade to become the relentless monster we see on screen. Hot, loud, engine close-up. The name cab-over engine is highly descriptive, and it leads to a genuinely bizarre aspect of driving this vintage machine. The 216 cubic inch 6-cylinder engine is located almost directly in the cab, right beneath the driver's seat and floorboard. The only thing separating the driver from that hot, loud mechanical beast is a thin, usually uninsulated cover, often called the doghouse. In a stock 1941 COE, this creates immediate and notorious issues for anyone inside. The cab becomes a heat box, especially in warmer climates, and the driver is subjected to incredible engine noise and constant vibration. This is a far cry from the luxury and sound deadening of modern trucks. It's surprising how raw the driving experience must be. This extreme intimacy with the engine underscores the truck's nature as a pure, unrefined workhorse. This lack of human comfort and the constant exposure to the vibrating, roaring engine actually contributes perfectly to the truck's overall intimidating atmosphere. It's a vehicle defined by mechanical intensity, which is ideally suited for a supernatural villain like the Creeper, who wouldn't feel human temperature or fatigue, allowing him to endlessly pilot this mobile hotbox of terror. Seating for 3 men. The Creeper's truck cabin appears to be this claustrophobic, metallic cage, a perfect control center for a solitary monster. But the original 1941 Chevrolet COE was actually designed with communal passenger capacity in mind. Believe it or not, Chevrolet marketed the cab-over-engine model by specifically highlighting its spaciousness and utility. They even touted the cab as the most practical over-engine cab ever built, with a key feature being the robust seating. The truck was equipped with a single seat cushion that measured 50 inches wide, spanning the entire distance from door to door. According to their own materials, this was designed so that 3 men could ride without crowding. This original feature of intended communal space is genuinely surprising when contrasted with the movie truck's use. The 1941 COE was meant for a driver and 2 co-workers, typically hauling industrial goods. The fact that the Creeper has repurposed this once industrious 3-person workspace into his own private, menacing, and seemingly endless cockpit adds an unnerving layer to the vehicle's history, turning a symbol of camaraderie and practicality into a tool of absolute dread. Modern V8 powers stunt truck. While the authentic manual transmission was used for some shots, the production team faced a serious reality check when it came to the film's most intense action sequences. The original 90-horsepower engine was simply too weak to perform dangerous, high-speed maneuvers safely or convincingly. To ensure the Creeper could truly menace his victims on the highway, the third of the 3 1941 COE trucks underwent a radical mechanical transformation. This specific vehicle received a modern Chevy V8 heart transplant, completely replacing its vintage powertrain. Crucially, this new engine was paired with a modern automatic transmission. This upgrade moved the vehicle far beyond the limitations of the original Crashbox manual gear shift, providing the instant torque and smooth acceleration necessary for precision stunt driving. This modification allowed the stunt drivers to execute complex, aggressive maneuvers repeatedly without worrying about stalling or lacking power. It is a striking example of movie magic where the exterior remains a crumbling, rusted antique, but the internals are essentially those of a modern muscle car. This secret modernization ensured that the truck could deliver terrifying performance on command, proving that sometimes even a supernatural killer needs a little help from modern automotive engineering to look truly threatening. Restored with heavier steel body. The truck used in the movie was meant to look indestructible, but the real-life restoration of one of the screen-used vehicles took that concept literally. The current owner, who acquired one of the original prop trucks, decided to undertake a massive rebuild to save it from deterioration. During the downtime of the pandemic, the owner stripped the entire vehicle down to its frame to address the aging bodywork. Instead of simply patching it up with standard materials, they opted for a significant upgrade. The original thinner 22-gauge sheet metal was completely removed and replaced with far heavier, robust 16-gauge rolled steel. This wasn't just a cosmetic fix, it was a structural reinforcement that fundamentally changed the truck. This switch to thicker steel added approximately 1,000 pounds of pure weight to the already massive vintage vehicle. It is incredible to think that the restored version of this horror icon is actually more formidable and physically imposing today than it was during filming. This dedication to using heavy-duty materials ensures that the truck doesn't just look like a tank, it is built like one, guaranteeing its survival as a terrifying piece of cinema history for decades to come. Impossible speed suggests engine swap. Anyone familiar with vintage heavy machinery knows that a 1941 Chevy COE was engineered for low-speed torque, not highway velocity. Yet, throughout the film, this rusted behemoth exhibits acceleration and top speeds that shatter the laws of physics for a stock vehicle of that era. The truck is depicted effortlessly reaching speeds of at least 100 miles per hour, allowing it to run down modern cars with terrifying ease. Given that the factory engine produced a mere 90 horsepower, this cinematic performance implies that the Creeper is driving a heavily modified sleeper. To push that much unaerodynamic steel through the air at triple-digit speeds, deep mechanical surgery is required. Enthusiasts and experts speculate that the vehicle likely conceals a modern high-performance powertrain, such as a 383 cubic inch Chevy crate motor paired with a supercharger. This specific combination would provide the massive torque and horsepower needed to overcome the truck's immense weight and wind resistance. It is a frightening detail that suggests the villain possesses not just supernatural strength, but mechanical sophistication, transforming a slow, decrepit farm truck into a high-speed, supercharged predator that no ordinary vehicle can outrun. Powered by original 40s tech. Despite the visual modifications and the movie magic used to make it scary, the heart of this machine remains deeply rooted in the past. One of the most fascinating details confirmed by an owner of the vehicle is that it retains genuine original technology from the 1940s. This means that operating the truck involves grappling with the raw, unassisted engineering of that era rather than modern comforts. The centerpiece of this archaic setup is the 4-speed manual transmission, which features what is known as a granny gear. This specific gear configuration was never designed for the blistering highway speeds depicted in the film. Instead, it was engineered for pure, unadulterated torque. While the truck is certainly not the fastest vehicle on the road in real life, this low gearing provides it with incredible brute strength. The mechanical advantage is so significant that the truck has enough power to push practically anything around, with the capability to theoretically pull a house off its foundation. This reliance on period-correct mechanicals grounds the vehicle in reality. It is fascinating that beneath the horror prop exterior, the truck operates with the same heavy-duty industrial purpose it had 80 years ago, prioritizing raw pulling power over modern speed. Passenger door conceals deadly trap. The Creeper's truck is heavily fortified with bizarre and aggressive defenses, evolving far beyond mere transportation into a fully realized mobile weapons system. One of the most insidious and deadly modifications documented on this vintage machine is a booby trap rigged specifically to the passenger side door. The Creeper is famously protective of his vehicle, outfitting it with lethal mechanisms designed to kill anyone who attempts to tamper with it, or, more desperately, try to escape from it. A particularly gruesome feature discovered involves the passenger door handle itself. This seemingly mundane component acts as a trigger for a concealed, spring-loaded weapon. If a victim or intruder attempts to pull the handle, the mechanical action trips a hidden release. This instantly launches a spear directly out from the side of the driver's seat area, aiming across the cab with lethal precision. This is a terrifying example of how every single element of this truck has been weaponized. The trap is designed for immediate execution, ensuring that a simple, instinctual attempt to open a door results in a fatal blow. It demonstrates that the vehicle is as actively malicious as its driver, turning the truck's interior into a calculated kill box, where even the exit points are rigged to ensure no one leaves alive. The COE chassis was versatile. The cab-over engine design was highly versatile, allowing Chevrolet to create numerous heavy-duty variants on the same chassis. For 1941, the COE chassis wasn't just limited to the specific style of the terrifying box truck we see in the movie. Chevrolet actively marketed this platform for a wide range of specialized applications. These applications ranged from units designed for trailer operation to models built specifically for extra-long special bodies on a massive 158 5/8 inch wheelbase. This high degree of adaptability is what made the COE chassis such a critical tool for various industries. The engineering intent was to provide maximum cargo space without creating an excessively long vehicle that was impossible to drive. By keeping the wheelbase relatively short compared to the body length, Chevrolet ensured ease of handling for commercial drivers. It is surprising to consider that the Creeper's truck is just one iteration of a platform designed to be the ultimate commercial multi-tool. The chassis was engineered to accommodate everything from flatbeds to heavy-duty tractor units. This history proves that the vehicle was a legitimate, flexible industrial asset long before it became a horror icon, capable of being customized for any job, whether that was hauling freight or something far more sinister. Electronic jamming device is suspected. Beyond the heavy steel armor and lethal booby traps, the Creeper truck appears to possess a hidden defense mechanism that is far more advanced than its rusted exterior suggests. Observations from the franchise strongly point to the existence of a powerful electronic jamming device concealed within the vintage cab. This theory arises from the terrifying reality that victims in the later films consistently found their mobile phones inexplicably dead whenever the vehicle was near. Even more telling was the experience of a tactical task force tracking the beast. They found themselves completely cut off, unable to maintain radio contact or warn each other about the truck's defenses because their communications were effectively scrambled. This capability implies the vehicle functions as a mobile dead zone, effectively isolating prey even in our hyper-connected world. The inclusion of electronic warfare equipment in a pre-World War II industrial truck creates a jarring and frightening contrast. It suggests that the Creeper has adapted his strategy to counter modern technology, transforming the 1941 COE from a simple transport into an invisible hunter. This high-tech modification allows a monster driving a loud, distinct, antique vehicle to vanish from the digital grid, disabling surveillance and emergency calls. It adds a bizarre science fiction element to the lore, proving that the vehicle is designed to ensure that once the chase begins, the victims are truly on their own. One truck was a non-runner. We established that the production team utilized a fleet of 3 separate trucks to bring the Creeper's ride to life, but not all of them were built to move. While 2 of the vehicles were fully functional machines designed for highway speeds and stunts, the 3rd truck had a completely different reality. This specific unit was essentially a non-functional shell that did not run at all. This static prop served a crucial purpose on set, being dedicated exclusively to static shots. In the complex logistics of filmmaking, having a non-running hero car is a massive strategic advantage. It allowed the director of photography and the crew to capture critical high-definition details without the interference of engine vibration, noise, or exhaust fumes. This stable platform was perfect for intricate lighting setups and detailed set dressing, essential for those lingering, terrifying close-ups where the vehicle sits ominously parked. The division of labor was strict and necessary. One truck handled the high-speed chases, another handled the stunts, and this 3rd one mastered the art of stillness. It is fascinating to realize that some of the most menacing shots of the truck, where it seems to be silently waiting and watching, feature a vehicle that was mechanically lifeless. It underscores the powerful illusion of cinema, utilizing a hollow metal shell to project an aura of unstoppable power and dread. This approach highlights the detailed planning required to make a static object look just as threatening as a speeding one. Ultimately, the 1941 Chevy COE is far more than just a rusted prop. It is a legitimate character with a complex history. We have seen how a short-lived pre-war commercial workhorse was transformed through movie magic, turning a humble flatbed into a rolling crypt. It is fascinating to realize that the terrifying patina was painstakingly painted on, and that the menacing cowcatcher was custom fabricated to mimic locomotive engineering. Whether it was the stunt truck powered by a modern V8 or the hero vehicle struggling with its original 90 horsepower engine, each version contributed to the legend. This blend of authentic automotive history and Hollywood fabrication is exactly what makes the Creeper's truck one of the most memorable and intimidating vehicles in horror cinema history.